Welcome, everyone, to our live stream, The Importance of Internships. I am Gage Boardman with Education Quest Foundation, and I'm privileged to be joined tonight by Dali O'Neill, a Career Services Coordinator at Wayne State College, and University of Nebraska-Lincoln student, Alec Geddert. Welcome, Dali and Alec. Thank you both for being with us tonight. Just a quick reminder to our audience, be sure to post any of your questions in the chat as we go. We'll get to answering those at the end of the presentation. So we're just going to start here with Dali, actually. So could you start out by just kind of talking a bit about your role in career services at Wayne State College?
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for having me. My role consists of internship coordinator, so I manage all undergraduate internships at Wayne State College, minus the health, human performance, and sport department. They kind of do their own thing. And then I also manage an experiential learning curriculum that goes along with all interns. And then I do one-on-one student appointments like resume reviews, cover letters, career exploration appointments, those types of things. Um, as well as presenting to classes and facilitating resume labs and all the good career readiness stuff.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I saw a career coach right before I started this job, actually, and it was probably the best decision I ever made.
Mhm.
So going on that topic, what are some of the benefits that students can get from participating in internships, and have you seen internships impact students' education and job readiness?
I think there's so many answers to these questions, and I think like the overall question or the overall statement is students get that related real world experience that everyone talks about. Students spend all high school, and then if they attend a 2-year school or a 4-year school, they're learning all these skills, all these concepts in the classroom, and then they actually get to step outside the classroom and get professional experience and develop soft skills like communication, leadership, professionalism, teamwork, all of those good things. They get to learn workplace etiquette and all of these transferable skills that can cross across so many different industries. And it can also overlap into our personal lives, like effective communication or conflict resolution, anything along those lines. Um, I think another really big thing is students have such an increase in their self-confidence. Being in a professional experience and finding out what they're good at can really help boost their self-confidence and self-esteem going into the future.
Yeah, I mean, hear it from me, absolutely, all of that. And so I actually want to go to you now, Alec, as someone who's currently in an internship. I do want you to, though, just start about a little bit about yourself, your hometown, your year in school, major, your activities, and then obviously your current internship and what kind of work you do there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Alec Getter. I am currently attending the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, pursuing a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Graphic Design. I am a senior, thankfully, so I will be graduating here in a couple months here in December. I kind of moved all over growing up, but Nebraska's been home for the longest. I am mostly from Wahoo, Nebraska, if any of you know who or where that is. But my current internship is also with Career Services, but at UNL. I am a student graphic design intern, so I do a lot of marketing work. I do all of the marketing resources that go out for our supplies, our resources, our events, such as our on-campus job and internship fair. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Our audience doesn't know this, but I actually was just in an internship with Alec at Career Services. So we're longtime friends. We both gotten to see kind of the benefits of that. But in the first place, what motivated you to kind of seek out an internship?
Yeah, so going into graphic design, I knew kind of like from the beginning that I wanted to get as much experience in all of the routes that you can kind of go as a marketing graphic designer. Um, with a focus in marketing as a graphic designer, there's really only like three routes that you can go. There's in-house marketing, agency life, and then like freelance slash like contracting gigs. So I wanted to kind of like dip my toes into each of those so I would know by the time that I got out like what I wanted to go into. So I wanted to, for this internship, I was looking to get some like in-house marketing experience. And I have certainly gotten that out of this, and I love it.
And so can you kind of talk to us about like your future career plans and how you think this past internship experience will affect your goals?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I wanted to get some experience in everything. So I've had some experience with agency life. I've had some experience with freelancing. But by far, this like in-house marketing gig with career services has been my favorite. I love kind of working with the same brand guide every day and working with reoccurring projects every year. So I would just say that like exploring all of these paths has kind of led me to like knowing more so what I want to do in the future. So I will absolutely be going in in-house marketing.
Awesome. I'm excited. Alec is a very talented graphic designer, if you guys don't know. And so, Dali, I kind of want to go back to you for some of the actual, like, how do students find internships? When should students start to look for these internships? And can you offer any advice on how to secure these opportunities?
Absolutely. I want to start by saying finding and securing an internship, it can seem really overwhelming and daunting. And when you think about an internship or think about starting an internship, you should start sooner rather than later. If you do more than one internship, you're likely to feel even more confident because your skills are leading into your next professional experience, and then you just feel more confident as you go. So that would be some of the advice that I have. And I also think that in the world of technology, there's so many places to look for internships. And I think that's where some of the overwhelm might come from. Because you can look on LinkedIn, you can look on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Google, I mean, anywhere and everywhere, Handshake, all of the places. And you might apply to 15, 20 different internships and never hear anything back. And that can be really discouraging and disheartening for students from my experience and working with them. So I always tell my students to stay organized and very strategic about their internship search. Start early, start sooner rather than later. Document the places that you apply to, who you're talking to, who you're corresponding with, their email, because it helps you stay organized and then you keep track of where you are in your search so that you don't contact a person more than once or just any of those things. Another piece of advice that I have is when you're looking for internships, use those portals like LinkedIn, Handshake, Indeed, ZipRecruiter. Use those just to explore and brainstorm. But then if you actually find an internship posting that you're really interested in, go to that website and apply directly on their website and correspond with someone who is an actual person with an actual email so that you're communicating with someone on the other end of the line. Because if you apply on Handshake, LinkedIn, your resume and application could get lost. I was always told that if you're applying to 20 to 30 internships, it's likely that 200 of your friends are doing the same thing. So these people are recruiting or reviewing so many different resumes a day. So you just want to make sure that you're doing it in a strategic manner.
Yeah, those are great tips. I love that you brought up documentation because I just remember my job search and applying to hundreds of jobs and how do you keep track of that? So that was a great tip. And um, going from those, can you share any success stories of students who had benefited from their internship experiences or maybe your own personal experience with interning in the past?
Yes. So one of the students that sticks out to me the most is an international student. And we know international students, they face more barriers looking for internships, looking for jobs. And I really admire this student for the amount of work and the dedication that he showed through his internship search and his just self-development in general. This student was very organized. He was very strategic. He was very active on LinkedIn and he started seeking out alumni connections. He conducted informational interviews and he built a really strong professional network, which was truly outstanding. And that professional network helped get him a really great internship. And even his LinkedIn profile, I mean, he's getting his pilot's license and he's always updating LinkedIn, telling him what we're doing or what he's doing. He built his own webpage because he's a computer science major. So he was taking on his own independent projects to show his skill. And I think employers are really looking for that. And they're looking for people who go above and beyond. And so that student in particular is truly outstanding. He works hard for it. But another example, so I was a student intern. I graduated with my undergrad May of 2022 in human service counseling. And it was so nerve-wracking. It was my first time counseling. I was in a group setting with juveniles and I was learning. And the head group facilitator, he said, I double booked my calendar today. So you're going to run group today. I'll be in the next room. If you need something, come get me. And I was like, I was 21. I was like, I've never done this before. Super scary. I was so nervous. And I ended up bonding with the group really well. I was thrown into the deep end, but I just took a deep breath and I learned these skills in class and I loved being around people. And so I just kind of took it and ran. So that's kind of what you have to do in your internship. You just got to take it and run with it and work hard for it.
Yeah, that's great. Alec, going back to you real quick, since you are still in an internship currently, um, kind of like how Dali talked about, there are, hundreds of internships you can apply for online. So kind of what were some of like, I don't know, factors that you kind of wanted to really look for in an internship before you applied to it?
Yeah. So when I was kind of internship searching, I was purposely wanting to find a place where the job description was very education heavy. I wanted to find a place that they were willing to take the time and like actually teach me on the job. Because while I feel like an internship is definitely job experience, I feel like it's just as much almost like a class at the same time. As a designer, getting some like real world, like hands-on experience in the field is like so important. And I'm sure that's the same for literally every major, but just that education on the job was super, super important to me. So I think kind of like a tip would be definitely actually read the job descriptions. Um, Make sure that what you're applying to like aligns with like what you're wanting out of the role. Don't just like apply to a ton of internships just because you need an internship for a credit or anything. Like actually get something that you know will fit what you want out of it. And also never, never hesitate to ask questions while you're in your internship or even before, because people just love to answer questions.
Exactly. Exactly. And so you found career services, which is somewhere you've obviously really learned a lot from, you've grown a lot in. Is there any single thing that you think you maybe enjoyed the most about your internship experience?
Yeah, so the absolutely super cliche answer of just the people. I have absolutely loved and adored the people that I've worked with. I've been here for quite a while, so I've seen a lot of people come and go, which has also been a great experience to just see and meet new people, make new connections. Um, I have a ton of job references now, and also I've developed a ton of soft skills, but also specific to career services, working and designing like the resources such as the like job and internship guide that we offer has been like super, super helpful. So again, going back to my previous answer, find a place that like aligns with what you want to do in the future because what you work on at that job will probably follow you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I was a theater major and now I know all about career development. So it's great.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you, even if you see something like go out on a limb. And so Dali, with some of the interns and the students that you work with, what are some kind of like common challenges that students might face in an internship and how can they overcome those?
I think one of the biggest challenges, kind of like I said earlier, it's just that initial, like, I have to find an internship for credit or I need an internship. It can be overwhelming. So in that state of overwhelm, they might apply, kind of like what Alex said, to 20, 30 different internships, and then they don't ever hear anything back, or they don't really know what they get themselves into. They might not read the job description and it's not what they thought it was going to be. Um, I would say like the resume black hole, man, it is real. It is real. So when I say to be strategic, to be organized, to tap into your network, like ask your family, your friends, do they know of anyone? Everyone always knows someone. So your neighbor could be working in a computer science field and you're looking for a computer science internship. That happens all the time. And actually, a lot of interns and people in general get hired internally. And so to use your network and to rely on people for those types of experiences. The people that you meet, man, they matter so much. So the people that are cleaning your office or the people that are teaching you in class, build those relationships, maintain those relationships, and then I will take this to my deathbed, be organized with your internship search, be strategic and start early.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And so once these students are in these internships, do you have any advice on how they can make like the most out of the experience while they're in it?
Yes, I always say just try hard and put yourself out there. I always tell my students to ask for feedback, be curious about how you can grow as a person and take that feedback and act on it. If you could be better, if you could be a more effective communicator, ask questions. How can I do that? Can you give me some examples? And informational interviews. Informational interviews are so powerful. In one of my internship assignments, I have students conduct an informational interview with their supervisor or someone who has been in the field for long periods of time. And it helps them build their network. And then, kind of like what Alex said, they can be a really strong reference for you later. So, conduct those informational interviews, leave it all out on the court because those internship experiences can get you your next job.
Yeah, definitely don't be afraid to ask questions or ask for feedback, which I think Alex, that's something you mentioned earlier as well. Because there's nothing worse than just sitting there with a question and then you just get nervous and it builds up. So everyone's there to watch you like grow, basically, is like what I got out of most of my internships. And so Dali, if there's any students that are maybe having some troubles finding internships like in their desired field, do you have any advice for that? Any steps they can take?
Yes. So I've ran into a lot of situations with students where they've applied to a bunch of places already, and then they're not hearing anything back, and then they come in for a resume review. And so you want to make sure before you start applying, you have to have a good resume. And you need to have a lot of what I call like growth experiences. So even if you're a high school student or if you're an underclassman, you need to get involved. And as you grow in your college journey, become a sophomore, junior, you need to take on more leadership roles, become a vice president of a club, do job shadows, do more than one internship, like I said. Um, those will help you build your resume and it will help you become more of a marketable intern and student going into the field. That's what employers are looking for. Um, as far as students who are struggling in their internships, I think that there's no such thing as a bad experience. I mean, I think there's something to be said for like cognitive reframing, try to find the positive in it, know that you're growing, and then if things aren't growing and getting better, talk to your internship supervisor. If that doesn't work, rely on your career services team or whoever is your internship coordinator, whoever that might be. Use these people because they've done it before and they can really help you out and point you in the right direction.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned resumes, which are a huge part of not only job searches, but also internships. And so do you have just like a quick three like top resume tips for our audience?
Yes, I'm so happy to give those to you. The biggest thing I've learned is the companies they could easily review 200 plus resumes a day. You never know, especially like the big Fortune 500, probably way more. A lot of those companies use applicant tracking systems. And so if your resume isn't aligned with the job description, it kicks out your resume because it doesn't pick up keywords. So if there's keywords in the job description, you want to kind of wiggle those into your resume, and your resume needs to be tailored to the position you're applying for. The second tip that I have is we always tell our students to steer away from the resume templates that you might see on Canva or Google. Your picture on your resume. That's a big no-no because that can open the door to discrimination, and we don't want that. So having a resume that is clean, organized, easy to read, sometimes less is more, and that's a really, really good example of that.
Great. Thank you. Uh, Alec, I want to go back to you real quick, just because I know that you're kind of nearing the end of your internship here. You're going to graduate in December, which is really exciting. And so before this whole process had started, is there anything that you wish you would have known before your internship? And what advice would you give to other students applying and interviewing for positions in the upcoming future?
Yeah, so I think one thing that I would say is it's not really going to be comfortable. Like it's not going to be like miserable or anything, obviously, but like you are gaining a new experience. So like it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to be feel weird, but like you need to kind of embrace that. I know when I had first started kind of working, getting some experience and stuff, I was kind of thinking it was just gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be easy. But like you really, really need to apply yourself because this is like kind of a forming time of your life. So things are gonna change, things are gonna feel different. But I think it should be reframed in your head that that is very exciting. And then just open up your head to it. Um, I also want to really double down on ask so many questions, like so many questions, before you get the job, during the job interview, after the job. Always come to a job interview with so many questions too. It just shows that you are interested in it and getting clarification and such. But there's really nothing worse than being the one worker that didn't ask for clarification and then everyone has to go back and like redo stuff. So ask so many questions. An internship is a learning opportunity. It's where you are probably going to learn like the most stuff in your field. Um, so just make the most out of it by asking questions and just really trying to learn as much as possible.
Yeah, yes to all of that. So thank you so much for sharing your expertise and experiences this afternoon, Dali and Alec. I want to take an opportunity real quick just to take some audience questions. Um, I think we'll start here with maybe with Dali. Do you have any advice or just any opinions surrounding like unpaid internships or unpaid experiences?
100%. I think all internships should be paid. I think in today's day and world, I mean, it's expensive. Inflation, it's hard on everybody. So if you're not paying your interns, one, you can expect you're not going to get very many applicants because people need paid. And interns, they can bring so much fresh knowledge to the table and can bring so much innovation and creativity and up-to-date knowledge and skills. And they deserve to be paid 100%. And honestly, I think um, it's really something to consider, like labor laws in the state of Nebraska. That's something worth looking into. I'm no expert on that topic, but I know it can be a liability if you're not paying an intern and something happens on the job. That can be an issue depending on what the role is, depending on what they're doing. For sure. That's my answer.
Yeah, that's great. Something I've been very curious about for a long time too, because I kind of, steered away from those just because it is hard out here. I need some money. So it's definitely great to hear a little bit of expertise on that. And just a follow-up question to that, for students that are still in high school, haven't even got to college yet, is it best to try to intern earlier in the college career, in the middle, in the end, or just whenever you can find an opportunity?
I don't think there's a best answer for that. I mean, I think my best advice is like do it all. I want to say do it all the time, have more than one internship. Um, Especially I would say like sophomore year is a really valuable and fragile time to do an internship, do your first internship like your sophomore year, and then you get to see, is this something I want to do for the rest of my college career? Because in your freshman and sophomore year, a lot of kids are completing their gen eds. So by the time their sophomore and junior year rolls around, they're starting to get into like the weeds of things. They're starting to get into their major, taking major related courses. And so do an internship sophomore year before you're sure, and then your junior year, senior year for sure. The more experiences, the better, and it builds your resume.
Awesome. Well, thank you both. I think that is all of our questions here. If we didn't get to any of your questions, please feel free to reach out to any of our offices for our free help. You can find our contact information at educationquest.org. Also, make sure to follow us, of course, on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube to stay up to date on all the latest developments with FAFSA and college planning. And also don't forget to sign up for the Countdown to College emails to get a short weekly email to keep you in the loop. That is at the bottom of our homepage, and we are going to go ahead and share that link now. And we will see you guys back on Wednesday, August 7th at 7 p.m. for our next live stream, What to Expect for Your Freshman Year. So if you are a freshman and you're coming up, make sure you attend that, get some advice. Besides that, though, have a great evening, and we'll see you next month.